Welcome to the Buddha's Insight, where we not only explore the profound teachings of Buddhism, but also discover how they can transform your life towards more peace and mindfulness every day. In today's world, filled with constant sharing and information overload, have you ever wondered, why does silence hold such powerful significance? Why, despite having endless ways to share our thoughts, emotions, and achievements, do we still not feel a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment? We are constantly urged to share our thoughts, our joys, and even our struggles. But what if I told you that sometimes, silence itself is the key to inner peace? In a world where everyone is talking, could it be that true tranquility comes from not speaking at all? What if the act of sharing less could help us gain more clarity, more peace, and more understanding within ourselves? Today, we will explore 5 things you should never share according to Buddhist teachings. These insights will not only help you safeguard your inner peace, but they will also guide you towards deeper clarity and a mindful way of living. And don't rush through this video, because by the end, I'll be sharing a special lesson with you, one that, when applied, could change the way you view and experience the world around you. I encourage you to leave a comment below and share your thoughts after watching. Your reflections may be the first step in applying these teachings to your own life. Whether you find a big shift in perspective or simply gain a clearer understanding of what to protect, your insights are valuable. Be sure to watch until the end so you don't miss out on any important lessons. 1. Your inner peace. True inner peace, as emphasized by the Buddha, is something that is cultivated within oneself rather than being dependent on external circumstances. It is a state of mind that arises from detachment and self-awareness, rather than from the world around us. When we allow ourselves to share our inner peace too freely, we risk allowing external factors, such as opinions, arguments, or the drama of others, to disrupt the tranquility we have worked so hard to nurture. Peace is fragile, and exposing it to the judgments or negativity of others can weaken its foundation. Therefore, protecting and preserving inner peace is a deliberate act of guarding our thoughts and emotions, resisting the urge to be swayed by outside influences. Buddhism teaches that true peace comes not from seeking approval or validation from others, but from a deep internal stillness that is unaffected by external turbulence. When we allow our peace to be influenced by the reactions or expectations of others, we risk creating a volatile emotional environment. This can lead to dissatisfaction, anxiety, or conflict, much like a tree that needs to be rooted deeply in the earth to withstand strong winds. Our peace must be anchored firmly within ourselves, rather than relying on fleeting external conditions. A profound story from the Buddha's life illustrates this point beautifully. One day, while meditating under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha was approached by a man who began to criticize him using harsh and vulgar language. Despite the abuse, the Buddha remained silent and continued his meditation. His disciple, witnessing this, became frustrated and wanted to respond in defense of their master. However, the Buddha calmly asked, "When someone gives you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does that gift belong?" The disciple quickly understood that just as a gift can only belong to the person who receives it, so too can words of criticism only affect us if we choose to accept them. By not responding, the Buddha demonstrated that negativity and criticism only have power over us if we allow them to enter our minds. This lesson highlights the importance of maintaining control over our reactions and not letting external disturbances disturb our inner peace. On a personal level, I have come to realize that when I share too much about my inner peace or emotional state, others may unknowingly bring their own negativity, judgments, or expectations into that space. Just as we protect our physical space from unwanted influences, we must also guard our emotional space. It is essential to safeguard the peace we cultivate, not allowing it to be easily disturbed by the opinions or emotional energy of others. Like a treasure, our inner peace is something that must be carefully protected, allowing it to flourish in a secure and undisturbed environment. It is through such protection and mindfulness that we can preserve the tranquility we have worked so hard to attain. Thus, the practice of inner peace requires not only self-awareness but also a conscious effort to shield ourselves from the negativity of the outside world, ensuring that our inner stillness remains intact. 2. Your negative thoughts. Negative thoughts, when shared, not only weigh heavily on our own minds but also burden those who listen. They spread distress and often leave others feeling exhausted or drained. Buddhism teaches the importance of right speech, speaking only what is true, necessary, and kind. Complaints or criticisms, though often released in the heat of the moment, can cause unnecessary suffering. Once words are spoken, they cannot be taken back, and the damage done by harsh words can linger far beyond the conversation. Therefore, it is vital to be mindful of the words we share, as they hold the power to shape our experiences and influence others' lives. Once, when the Buddha was traveling with his disciples, they came across a man who had been mistreated by others. The man was angry, upset, and filled with negative thoughts. He began to complain loudly about his circumstances, blaming everyone around him for his misery. When the Buddha heard his complaints, he simply smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift, and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man paused, and the Buddha continued, "In the same way, when you carry anger and resentment in your heart, you are accepting a gift of suffering from others. If you do not accept it, it cannot harm you." This teaching emphasized that negative thoughts and emotions are not ours unless we choose to accept them. When we let them dominate our minds and actions, they not only affect us but also those around us. Philosophically, this aligns with the Buddhist belief that we have control over our thoughts. The mind, like a garden, requires careful cultivation. If we nurture it with negative thoughts, it will be overrun by weeds of anger, bitterness, and resentment. But if we cultivate positivity, compassion, and mindfulness, we can create a flourishing garden of peace. Therefore, sharing negative thoughts only propagates more suffering, not just within ourselves, but also among others. A personal reflection reveals the power of silence before speaking. There have been times when I felt overwhelmed by negativity and wanted to express my frustrations. However, I have learned that silence offers a chance to pause and reflect, allowing space for a shift in perspective. A small change in how we perceive a situation can turn a negative thought into an opportunity for growth. Instead of reacting impulsively, taking a moment to consider whether our words will bring peace or pain is vital. The Buddha's teachings on right speech encourage us to communicate with mindfulness, ensuring that our words uplift rather than harm. In moments of frustration, choosing silence over criticism not only protects our peace but also creates a more harmonious environment for those around us. By understanding the impact of our words, we can learn to speak with kindness, compassion, and wisdom, ultimately leading to a more positive and peaceful life. 3. Your personal vulnerabilities. In life, it is natural to seek support from others when we are struggling. But not everyone we trust will handle our vulnerabilities with care. Our weaknesses, fears, and emotional struggles are deeply personal. And while sharing them can offer a sense of relief, it is crucial to understand that not all individuals have the capacity to offer the support we need. Some may judge, misunderstand, or even use our vulnerabilities against us. This is why wisdom lies in knowing who is truly worthy of hearing our deepest thoughts. One of the key teachings of Buddhism is the importance of discernment, particularly when it comes to sharing personal feelings and vulnerabilities. The Buddha often spoke about the need to be mindful of who we confide in and the qualities they should possess. In one well-known story, a man came to the Buddha seeking guidance on how to deal with those who had harmed him. The Buddha responded by asking, "If someone gives you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man was confused. And the Buddha explained that if we do not accept the negativity or judgment from others, it cannot harm us. This principle applies to our vulnerabilities. We have the power to decide who we allow to receive the gift of our pain. And we must ensure that the people we trust are capable of handling it with compassion and care, not using it as a weapon. Buddhism also emphasizes the importance of self-awareness. The Buddha taught that before sharing our struggles, we must first cultivate a deep understanding of ourselves. This self-awareness allows us to discern not only when we need support, but also who is truly capable of providing it. Sharing our vulnerabilities with someone who lacks compassion or empathy can lead to further pain and disappointment. On the other hand, when we share our struggles with someone who offers understanding, kindness, and wisdom, the process can be healing and transformative. A personal insight into this wisdom comes from my own experiences. I have learned that sharing my vulnerabilities can be incredibly healing. But only when I do so with people who offer genuine compassion, not judgment. True friends, those who truly understand and care, know when to listen and when to offer help. These are the people with whom we should entrust our deepest thoughts and fears. They know the value of silence when necessary and the power of words when required. Surrounding ourselves with such individuals fosters a sense of safety and trust, allowing us to navigate our struggles with greater resilience. Ultimately, our vulnerabilities are a part of who we are, but they should not be shared carelessly, just as we would not entrust something valuable to someone unworthy. We must also protect our emotional and mental well-being by choosing wisely who we open up to. By doing so, we ensure that our vulnerabilities are treated with the respect, compassion, and understanding they deserve. 4. Your future plans. When it comes to future plans, we often feel the need to share our aspirations with others, seeking validation or support. However, talking too much about our goals can lead to unnecessary pressure and expectations from both ourselves and others. It opens the door to doubt, jealousy, and unwanted opinions, all of which can cloud our focus and motivation. In many cases, sharing too much about what we intend to do can create distractions, preventing us from fully committing to the hard work and dedication that success requires. Instead, it is far more beneficial to work quietly on your dreams, allowing your actions to speak louder than words. Let your success be the result of your efforts, not a product of seeking approval or attention from others. The Buddha's teachings can shed light on this principle. In one famous story, the Buddha was once approached by a young man eager to gain recognition for his spiritual progress. The man asked the Buddha, "How can I make others see how much I have learned?" The Buddha replied, True wisdom is not in making others aware of your knowledge, but in living that wisdom daily. A wise person does not need to announce their wisdom, it is visible in their actions. The essence of the Buddha's advice is that the pursuit of any goal, especially spiritual or personal growth, should not be driven by external recognition. The focus should always remain on the journey itself and the fulfillment that comes from personal achievement, not the applause of others. The story illustrates an important lesson: when we seek approval or validation from others, we divert our energy away from the true purpose of our goals. Instead of being guided by our inner values and motivations, we become vulnerable to the opinions of others, which may be swayed by jealousy or criticism. This external focus can undermine our progress and diminish the joy that comes from our achievements. Buddhism teaches the importance of detachment, not from our goals, but from the need for external validation. By working quietly and focusing solely on the process, we align ourselves with our true purpose and allow our actions to reflect our intentions. As the Buddha often said, it is not what we say, but what we do that shows the depth of our understanding. In my own life, I've noticed that when I keep my plans to myself and focus solely on taking consistent action, I become much more focused and less distracted. The more I keep my aspirations private, the less I am influenced by others' expectations. There is immense power in moving silently, allowing your work to surprise the world with its results. When you allow your actions to speak, you place your trust in the process, knowing that success will come in its own time, without the need for constant validation or recognition. Ultimately, by keeping your future plans to yourself and working diligently behind the scenes, you free yourself from the burden of others' judgments. Your success will then be a reflection of your inner dedication and hard work, not a measure of how much attention you've attracted along the way. This quiet, focused approach is where true power lies. 5. Your acts of kindness. True kindness, as taught by the Buddha, is not about seeking recognition or praise, it is an act of selflessness driven by compassion. The greatest deeds are those performed without expecting anything in return, especially external validation. When we help others, we should do so out of a genuine desire to alleviate their suffering, not for the recognition or applause that might come with it. In Buddhism, acts of kindness are seen as a way of nurturing our own spiritual growth, not a means of gaining approval from others. The Buddha emphasized that genuine generosity is not about what we give but the intention behind the giving. It is about offering with an open heart and no expectation of reciprocation. A well-known story from the Buddha's life highlights this teaching. Once, a man came to the Buddha, seeking advice on how to gain true spiritual merit. He explained that he had been performing many good deeds, hoping to accumulate good karma, but he felt as though his actions were not being noticed by others. The Buddha responded with a simple but powerful lesson: if a flower is offered to you, and you do not appreciate it, who does the flower belong to? The man was puzzled, and the Buddha explained that just as the flower's value does not depend on whether someone appreciates it, our good deeds are not diminished by the lack of acknowledgement from others. True merit is found in the selflessness of the action, not in how it is received. This story beautifully illustrates that the real reward for acts of kindness comes from within. It is not about the applause we receive from others but the joy we experience from knowing that we have helped, that we have made a difference, no matter how small. The Buddha teaches that when we perform good deeds out of compassion, we are not just helping others but also nourishing our own hearts, bringing us closer to enlightenment. In our everyday lives, This teaching is especially important. It is easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation for our actions, especially in a world where social media often rewards public displays of kindness. But true kindness is often quiet, invisible, and without fanfare. It is found in the small, everyday acts that require no acknowledgement: helping someone in need, offering a listening ear, or showing patience without expecting anything in return. These moments of kindness, though unnoticed by the world, hold the greatest value because they are performed with the purest intentions. On a personal level, I've learned that the joy of helping others should be enough, without needing to be noticed. The quiet satisfaction that comes from selflessly assisting someone in need is far more fulfilling than any praise or recognition. I remind myself that when I help others, the act itself is the reward. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to focus on the joy that comes from giving, rather than the validation we may or may not receive. In this way, kindness becomes its own reward, enriching our lives and helping us cultivate a heart full of compassion and peace. Conclusion: silence is not emptiness, it's wisdom. The next time you're about to share something, ask yourself, does this serve my peace or add to my suffering? Share what nurtures growth, and protect the sacred space within you. If these teachings resonate with you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights into Buddhist wisdom. May your life be filled with peace, mindfulness, and compassion.